If you spent much time around Alvin Elbert, you'll quickly learn about two things that he is passionate about, and that's manufacturing and helping young people reach their potential. In today's episode, I'm talking to Alvin about his manufacturing company, ARE Manufacturing, as well as a business he helped start at Newberg High School, Tiger Manufacturing. We'll hear the backstory of ARE, some of the early struggles, the transition to where they are today, as well as future expansion plans. We'll also hear the story of Tiger Manufacturing, a manufacturing business at Newberg High School run by high school students that actually sells their products and pays their employees. And they could even get college credit, so it's a pretty nice gig. Alvin really spearheaded that project and was given the Citizen of the Year award in 2016 for his work with the students as well as all of his other efforts around the community. Alvin really exemplifies the heart of the Giving Town, and I look forward to sharing his story with all of you. Hi, I'm Daniel Roberts, host of the Giving Town podcast, where we share stories of hope and generosity in Newberg and the surrounding areas. If you're a community leader, a nonprofit volunteer or employee, a service club member, or just someone who cares about our community, then this podcast is for you. We live in an amazing town full of incredible people who are working to make Newberg an even better place to live. This podcast is all about sharing those stories and helping the people in our town be inspired, get involved, and have hope for our future. I also have the Living in Newberg YouTube channel, which is all about what it's like living in Newberg. So if you like these podcasts, you'll probably enjoy that channel as well. This podcast is brought to you by my real estate team, the Joyful Roberts Group, and it's part of our mission to serve this community, not only by providing amazing service to our clients, but also to help Newberg be an even better place to live. So if you're looking to buy or sell a home anywhere around Newberg, reach out to us and we'd be happy to serve you. Well, thanks for tuning in to this episode of the Giving Town podcast, and I hope you enjoy this episode as I talk with Alvin Elbert. All right, Alvin, well, thank you so much for joining me today. Gosh, it's been a while since we first talked about doing an interview together, but I'm looking forward to learning more about you, about ARE Manufacturing, and also what you've been doing with Tiger Manufacturing and all of that. So thanks for being here today.
Yeah, thanks for inviting me.
One of the things I also wanted to do is say a quick thank you to Chehalem Property Management for sponsoring this episode. Basically, all their sponsorship dollars go towards social media ads to get this message out to more people in the community. So thank you, Jeff, and thank you to the CPM team. All right, so Alvin, most people know you as the basically your everything ARE Manufacturing. That's kind of your baby. But can you, for people who may not be familiar with that story or how you got involved with that, can you share a bit about the background and kind of the backstory of ARE Manufacturing and where you are now?
Okay. Yeah, it probably really started as a kid, was just growing up on a family farm and learning how to do things and work pretty young in life. I've actually, by the time I was in high school, I liked working with my hands. I knew I wanted to make stuff. So I decided to be a machinist in high school. Knew nothing about it, but I did woodworking as a hobby and kind of thought, wood metals, got to be more money in metals. so I kind of made that decision out of high school, went to Oregon Tech in Klamath Falls, got an associate degree in machining. Right out of college, got married, got a job in machining. I mean, it's pretty much a job shop. It'd be like working for me. It's where I started. And then I got an opportunity to work for a small dental manufacturer that needed help running their CNC department. Or really, it wasn't running, so they needed somebody to run it. So I went and took that job on and did that. After a couple of years of that, I just kind of realized that, I really liked making decisions and making the decision process of machining, and I'd like to just make all the decisions. So I decided to start my own business. So that was in 1980. I was 23 years old. So, and I started in my garage part-time, worked, had a full-time machining job, and did the ARE part-time in my garage, and did that for about 4 years. I actually I actually hooked up with DCI, dental equipment manufacturer in town, and it was founded by John Spencer, and John was selling out of the basement of his house, and I was making his parts in my garage. Well, honestly, he grew, made me grow too. So by the time 1984, I actually quit my full-time job, and I've done ARE manufacturing ever since then.
Okay.
So,
And where does the name ARE come from?
ARE is just my initial.
Okay, I was wondering that.
So I have ARE is I have ARE. So
So 4 years you were making parts out of your garage,
Yeah.
right? And then what was that like, taking that leap to say, okay, I'm now going from doing this as a hobby and quitting your full-time job to actually starting the company?
I don't know. I was too scared about it because I knew it's what we were going to do. I've been waiting for it to happen a long time. But 6 months into it, almost failed completely. I wasn't charging enough money. So I actually raised my prices like 50% because I could tell that, when you're doing it part-time, you got another job. And also I was able to use equipment where I was working. Yeah, I could charge less.
Yeah.
So I had to raise my prices, and then things turned around. But yeah, it was kind of scary about 6 months in whether or not I was going to keep going because we were trying to tap everything out.
Wow. And so how did you go from being in your garage to going into your first facility?
We basically, like I said, John Spencer founded DCI, and he needed a place. I needed a place. He had acreage out in Dundee. So we actually built a little small shop on his facility. We both had about 1,000 square feet.
Okay.
And we grew out of that immediately. And so we actually bought property on Springbrook Road, which is where we currently are right now. So that was in 1987, and ended up building a place over there, and been kind of just growing and expanding a little bit ever since. So now we're in a 17,000 square foot building. We actually are in construction phase right now and adding another 10,000 square feet on. So
is it ever interesting looking back? I mean, so 1980 you started, 1984 you said, we're doing this full time. 6 months in, you almost failed. And then 3 years later, in 1987, was it at the time, was it 17,000 square feet, or did you slowly expand that?
I only built 4,500.
Okay.
I have 2 buildings on the property, so, and it was actually 3 properties I bought a year apart. So
Gotcha.
altogether, it's about 18 acres.
Okay.
So,
I mean, that must have been, so I mean, being a small business owner, right now it's just me and my parents. I don't have any actual employees, more just partners. But going from where it's just you to then hiring employees and buying some of your big pieces of equipment, what was that like?
it was always, you always got to keep investing, especially in our business. It's just really heavy equipment expenses. Some of the equipment I have is $500,000, So, so you're always, and to grow, you just got to keep plowing it back in. So keeping that balance was always pretty difficult, and trying to make sure that you were on the right path. And looking back, you just kind of like, surprising how many times that, we made the right decision. We made the right decision. We could have done the wrong decision. So I think it's successful businesses have always kind of had a good outlook of what it is, and they end up making the right decision. And we've had good luck with that, I guess.
Yeah.
So,
are there certain times you look back to where you're like, either that was a really good pivotal decision, or wow, like that was a really big mistake I learned from? Do you have many of those?
Oh yeah, there's a few of those. I think that we bought equipment where, what were we thinking? The other times it's like, buy a piece of equipment, it's like, why didn't we buy that 10 years ago? So, but you're just moving forward all the time. We actually, in mid-2000s, we purchased a business in Bend and moved it over here. And we doubled in size overnight.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I mean, it was total chaos. It was bad. And maybe it was a good idea. I'm still not sure. We got through it, but it was a good idea, but it was tough. So I was like, at the time, you really, man, what did I get myself into? But you work through all those things.
Yeah. I mean, you mentioned, so when you first started, you really liked working with your hands. You were a good machinist. Like, that's why you wanted to do it. Was there a certain time where you had to realize, wow, I've got to actually step away from doing this and kind of go into the full administrative side? Or do you still do tinkering?
No, I still do more tinkering than I should. I mean, I'm really hands-on, so it's hard to turn it over, but you have to. I mean, 5 employees, you could still do it all in a machine shop, but after that, you really have to start turning it over. I tell people I was a HR genius in 1986, because I hired an intern, my first intern out of Newberg High School, Paul Parlett, and he still works for me.
Oh, wow.
So he's been there 37 years and he's in charge of the whole machine shop operation. Yeah, so that was a very good hire. I also hired, that same year, I hired Susan Snyder. My wife was doing the books, a lot of the driving. She finally decided taking scrap barrels into the scrap recycler or pickup with 2 infant child was enough. So we had to hire somebody. We ended up hiring Susan Snyder, and she worked for me for 33 years. And so just phenomenal employee, just perfect right-hand person for me.
Yeah.
So it worked pretty well.
And with the expansion plan, so you're adding 17,000 feet, did you say?
Yeah, and about 10,500.
Okay. So you're going from, wait, how much space you have right now again?
17,000.
Okay. So you have 17, you're adding 10.
Yeah.
Okay. So, I mean, what is that like? I mean, that's almost doubling again.
It's being patient.
Okay.
We built our first machine shop, the 4,500 square foot one on Springbrook Road. We actually bought the property in February, annexed it into the city, changed the zoning to industrial, got a building permit, and moved into the building in July.
Okay.
So we basically, 5 months?
Yeah. Wait, so what stage is the building in?
Well, this is that first building. That's how long.
Oh, so you're saying, okay.
To do all that work.
It's like, that's actually fast.
Took us 4.5 months just to get a building permit this time. So it was being patient.
Yeah.
And it is crazy expensive.
So at this stage, you're basically getting the building permit, and then there's all the hoops you have to jump through.
We've done all that. We have a permit. We poured concrete. They've got the metal structure up. So they're about ready to put the siding on.
Okay.
So it's been moving along since we got the permit, but it was a really slow process getting to that part.
Yeah.
But I think the city is starting to work on that. So hopefully that gets better for people in the future. Yeah,
there's definitely been some motivation in the city to try to make things a little easier on businesses. I know it's still expensive. No. Hopefully it continues to get better. So what do you think you'll be in there actually with machines and all that working?
Sometime next year. We're actually, they get done. We still have a lot of work to do inside for electrical, and we have doing some floor covering, some stuff like that. So
Gotcha.
But sometime next year we'll be in there and doing it, using it. Mostly we're just kind of spreading out where we're really tight in the building we have right now. So we'll be able to spread out a little bit more and operate a little smoothly, I think.
Okay. One other thing I wanted to talk about, and maybe for a good portion of this episode, is with Tiger Manufacturing. So that's been a big passion of yours, and you've really been instrumental in that whole process. So can you share about Tiger Manufacturing, how that all came about, your involvement with that?
Sure. It really started about 15 years ago. We had such a shortage of machinists, experienced machinists. We actually decided not to hire any more machinists. We decided to actually create our own training program and start just training in-house. So we just started hiring people, no experience, entry level, and trained them the way we wanted them to do things in our process, our ways. Through that process, we also about the same time started lean manufacturing, which is just a whole way of operating your business to eliminate waste. And so we did a lot of that. And so we changed a lot of what we do to really paint by numbers. We documented it so well, it was kind of paint by numbers. It made it really easy to train people. And it was like, we need to we can train. So, and it's like, where do we want to get them? Well, the best would be right out of school. Plus, if we went to school, we could help them understand more about manufacturing. I mean, I really like manufacturing, and they really didn't know much about it. So we could go into school, and luckily, Newberg High School never lost their machining programs. Most shop classes in high school closed once the shop teacher retired, and luckily we had Terry Koss was the shop teacher, and he was there like 33 years. And I had a good rapport with him. He'd steer kids my way to be interns during the summer and things like that. So I went in and started helping him a little bit, and I enjoyed it, but I also wanted them to go a bit higher, the next step up, because they were kind of really guessing on a lot of stuff, and really machining is applied mathematics. It's all math. You do the math, you get a lot better results. So kind of wanted to see him do more of that, And so I did do some of that, but while I was helping him, I came across an article in a machining magazine about a high school in Wisconsin that was running their shop for profit. And it's called Cardinal Manufacturing. And we could do that. So I went and approached Terry Koss, and he was interested, and I offered to, lend my expertise on how to run a shop and set one up. We talked to the principal then about if they were interested, and they were interested. They had a counselor, Mona Liu. She's not there anymore, but she really liked it. And she just went and ran with the administrative side, the school side of it. And so she did that. I did the machining side. We applied for a $50,000 grant to go and get some equipment to get started. And, and this is like, this time, it was in December or something. They were like, they didn't get the grant. We'll wait till next year. And it's like, we've already created a space. I've got these 4 kids that have been helping me on independent study. I'll just bring a machine down. What a bind. We'll put it in there. Because Mona Liu came up with the idea is, let's pay him minimum wage. And I'm like, can we? Can we actually make enough money to pay him wages? I don't know. So I wanted to know that. So we went in one term, 4 kids. We ran Tiger Manufacturing. That's how it started. They made $9,000 in sales, got paid wages. We had $4,000 profit. We can do this.
Yeah.
So it was pretty much on full bore then. So, and so we're actually in our 7th year now. So, and we've made some good headways. It's been pretty bumpy stuff. I mean, we had a pretty slow start, but we kept adding equipment. We've got a lot of donations from Rotary Club. The Austin family has just been awesome, helping them out. But both Rotary Clubs has helped. Ford Foundation helped. We've got money from First Federal. So we had all sorts of people come in. And so we've been able to buy a couple of new pieces of equipment. Plus, we've used the money that we've made out of the program to buy equipment too. So So now from that one machine that I took down there, we actually now, that was a CNC machine. We actually have 5 CNC machines right now. So we're definitely making some headway.
Yeah. So how does that work as far as the students and the employees? Because some of that is the machining side, but like you found out when you were growing your business, there's also the logistics and the HR type stuff, the administration. So do the students handle all of that as well?
But we pretty much let them try to do as much as they can. I mean, the students are actually school district employees.
Okay.
So they are actually their employees. The district office pretty much just has to handle the money. You really can't get around that. But they're still doing packing lists. They're invoicing the customer. The money actually gets paid to the district, but they're doing pretty much everything else. We try to get them involved in the HR stuff, things like that. And we actually have one student, be our CEO, and that's a really great experience for them. And just seeing, how the money goes together, how the business works, how there's so many moving parts in it. So I think it's a bit eye opener. We always have we interview the students that want to come into the program because it's more of a senior program. So kids wanting to come in, we actually interview them a year before. We have our CEO do that.
Okay.
So we let them do a lot of planning. It's kind of, it's like a lot of, it'd be like, here, order this lathe, and it's like, that's $100,000. I want to do that, So it's good for them.
Yeah. Well, it's got to be an interesting experience as well, like doing all the sales and in the marketing, especially on top of all of your schoolwork, and also knowing, I imagine there's some of the bumpiness probably comes from, okay, if you have someone who's a junior or senior, they're a great CEO, and then they graduate. Now you got to start all over again and pass all that knowledge along.
And we're pretty much always trying to bring the next one along before the last one goes. I mean, this is the first year we've actually had a CEO for 2 years. So our CEO this year was our CEO last year, and that's the first time that's happened. So, and we really want to keep expanding the program. I mean, we've got 16 kids in the class, and we've got more equipment and a new facility, but we really would like to get the business department involved because, quite frankly, none of the kids that come in to take a wrench actually want to be a CEO.
Yeah,
because they go there they want to do the machining. So I usually have to talk them into it.
Yeah. Is there any headway with getting the business side or like the business department or business classes
we need
involved?
To start working that. I mean, the thing is we're kind of in our 7th year, but there's been a lot of upheaval. It's kind of, we basically have it, slow start, kind of got things rolling. COVID hit, shut us completely down. Slowly came back the next year, but the kids weren't really in the mindset to do school again. So it wasn't really until the next year they got a little better. We were kind of starting rolling again. Then we tore the building down. So we had to move everything to a new place, which luckily Austin Industry came through again for us, gave us a place. But we ran a year there, but we didn't run all the equipment. We didn't have all the space. So we had a decent year. But then we had to tear it all down again, move it into the new space. And now we're trying to get a new space set up. And it's just a lot of extra work and a lot of ups and downs. So we're kind of working more on just trying to get the new space going. But moving forward, we really want to really get some of the other departments involved. And get some more industry partners in it too. I mean, we've had a lot of people helping, but I'd like to get a lot more hands-on people coming in. It's pretty much ARE doing most of it now.
Yeah.
And I think we'll get there. It's just, just got to get things kind of smoothed out a little bit and get things working a little better. So.
Now, is there a website where people can go and actually order and submit proposals or things like that?
That's one thing we need to work on because, it was kind of, it's a little hard with the school, being part of the school, and then we've kind of had so much turmoil. We really don't have a website, really.
Okay.
Yes. They say they were tagged onto my website.
Gotcha.
ARE's website. You could go to ARE. You could go to Tiger Manufacturing. You'll see it on it. ARE website, but we really want to get them to have their own. So that's one of the goals by the end of the year is to get it set up to where they can have their own real website that people can go to. But if you search Tiger Manufacturing, you'll probably get directed to the ARE's site, and there will be a link, a part of our site that is about tire manufacturing.
So if someone wanted something built and wanted to submit it to Tiger Manufacturing, they would go through the ARE website to do that, or how does that part work?
I reach out to the school directly, and
Gotcha. Okay.
they can reach out to ARE, and we could take it. We could get it in the right people's hands. I mean, one of the things that too is that you can't really drive either, so it's harder to make those contacts because you really can't go to meetings very easily.
Right.
But the kids all like to do everything online anyway, so.
So will it be to the point where they'll have a website and then people can actually submit through the website and do it that way?
Yeah, I mean that's a lot of times it's good to just see it hands on, just one on one to direct to people. So we really like that interaction with the kids too. So we like to kind of do that.
Yeah.
And they can't do everything either. There's limitations, because we only work like an hour and 10 minutes a day. So it's a slow process to get things done a lot. So we have to make sure our customers understand that, and it's the right part. We can't do a super complicated part like we can at ARE. So
yeah.
So we have to kind of like that, because a lot of times we'll get people wanting us to design from something for them. It's a hard thing for a high school group to do, and especially if we're really trying to make a profit.
Yeah.
So we have to kind of be a little bit selective about what we do.
That makes sense. Yeah, I know the Chamber of Commerce, we recently started getting the new plaques for businesses from Tiger Manufacturing, which I thought was kind of cool. And that's a fairly simple part. It's mostly just engraving. You put the design on there. But I was just curious how other businesses, if people wanted to support Tiger Manufacturing, how they could best do that, what the best way to get involved was.
Like I said, you can go there through the website. You can actually get a hold of somebody and ask questions about it. I mean, I don't think we really have the capability to upload a drawing or something like we do it at ARE, but we definitely would be interested in talking to more people. Their biggest customer is ARE Manufacturing, so I wouldn't mind some other customers. Yeah. That's like the chamber project. I mean, it's actually just getting off the ground, because we really kind of had the idea last summer. And so the first batch, ARE actually made them to design it, prove it out. But the next batch, definitely is coming from the Tiger Manufacturer. We're still kind of waiting to really get that PO together. And we've got the kids working on the programming and all that. So sometime this school year, we definitely be making those. And we're kind of hoping to see that grow, because that's just adds another layer, because now you're kind of not only, machining stuff, making stuff, but you're actually kind of marketing your own product there, because we could take that plaque to McMinnville, Tiger, Sherwood.
Yeah.
We could hit the whole area, and, as long as our price is competitive.
It'd be really interesting to see, and I don't know what kind of classes they have at the high school, if there's, like you said, marketing or business classes, but it'd be interesting to see something like what George Fox does. They'll sometimes partner with businesses and help them come up with a business plan or a marketing plan. It'd be interesting to see some collaboration there. And
that's where, earlier this year, I did talk to the new head of the business department at George Fox, and it would actually be something interesting to pursue. One thing we did pursue this year is we actually went to get and got dual credit for the classes. So we're actually working with PCC. So we basically went and talked to them, put a plan together, and so in spring trimester, we're actually going to be able to offer dual credit courses to credits for people being in tiger manufacturing. So out of that, we should be able to create some type of certificate. So you get done, you have something to show that you've been there, done that.
So you get high school credit, college credit, and you get paid, and seems like a pretty good gig.
That.
So what gives you a passion to help young people? Because part of it I know is you wanted to train people on your own, and that seemed like a natural way to do that. But part of it is you also like helping young people succeed. Where do you think that comes from?
From my own, being a youth, in high school, I was extremely shy. I mean, so I always figured out everything on my own because I didn't want to talk to anybody about it, or I didn't want to ask anybody. So I was extremely shy, and it kind of, less people reach out to you. It really is quite a barrier, and and so and I wouldn't have been a total nerd if it wasn't for sports, but sports helped me out there. But that's I knew I wanted to be a machinist, and and so that's so I did a lot of stuff on my own, and but never really got an opportunity, because it just wasn't a program or anything. I went to Rainier High School, and really, 90 kids in my graduating class, so a small class, and really didn't have anything. And, but I did finally actually land a job right out of high school working for a machine shop that made attachments for forklifts. I got fired in 30 minutes. So it was, it wasn't much fun.
Well, I vaguely remember that. I've heard you tell that story because they basically just threw you to the wolves, right? And said, go make this with no training.
It was sink or swim. Run this saw, drill those holes. Didn't show me anything. I'm super shy. I have no confidence. I mean, I tried, but I was really slow. I think I was getting there, but just no help. And came out in 30 minutes, said, you're not going to do, and kicked me out the door, and and it just kind of stick with you. I mean, I think they were wrong. I think I could have done the job.
I think so. I think that's just shown that.
But, and I just really stuck with me. And it's like, and it just, kind of, being a hands-on person, just how can I do something about that? And that's kind of, I've kind of always had, I don't know, I guess a soft spot for youth and helping people do something new and that type of stuff. I mean, I kind of started out in soccer. I was a youth soccer coach for 15 years. And kind of, so I think I really kind of enjoyed that. And, from there, it's kind of like, what else can I do, and it's, I did Habitat Humanity for quite a while, and then started going to the high school, and it just kind of, it's like, this is kind of what they need, but it's also, that's a big time commitment to do it. Yeah. Do I really want to go 5 days a week to the high school and volunteer? It was a tough decision. And I actually, one of the reasons I did it was because it was our past mayor, Rick Roger, because he actually was doing Habitat Humanity, running it, and he went and started rugby at high school. And so he's there every day, and it's like, so I took the inspiration from him. I mean, if he could do that, I could do it. So I signed on, and it's been fun. Yeah, enjoyed it. It's easier now because I kind of turned over day-to-day operation at the machine shop. So I'm not in charge of the day-to-day stuff anymore. So it frees up a lot of time for me now.
Yeah. Well, was it in 2016, didn't you get the Citizen of the Year award for the Chamber of Commerce too? Because you were doing quite a bit.
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah. That was one of the first, we like to call them major awards. So, but yeah, it was pretty, didn't expect that at all, actually. So, because we've always kind of tried to, we always stayed under the radar quite a bit, really.
Yeah.
So, but we'd started doing some stuff, the tired and just, I think a lot of it was, our training program was really working really well, and our lean manufacturing, we were getting recognized for what we were doing there. And so there's just a lot of stuff were going right, and so people happened to notice, I guess.
What do you see for the future of ARE manufacturing and kind of your involvement with that? I know you're out of day-to-day operations, but what do you see your role and the role of that business moving forward?
Well, we're going to be in the succession part of it, moving to the next generation. And I really never ever wanted to sell it to anybody. I really kind of wanted to just turn it over to somebody. And I have a son and a daughter, and I really didn't think they wanted to be part of that business. They had both worked for me before, and I didn't think that was it. So I kind of thought it'd probably be turned over to some of my long-term employees. I mean, I have a number of people been there a lot of years, so that's kind of what it was going. But then, I don't know, my son, he worked for him like 5 years, and then but he always liked music, so he went and did the music thing, and I mean, he made a living off it for 4 or 5 years, but he was single, and then he got married, got 2 kids, so he came back to the machining business. So my son actually was working for me, so I turned over a lot of my duties to him, and then Paul Parlett, my manufacturing manager, has been there for 37 years, so obviously it's easy to turn it over to him. And then my other long-term employee was Susan Steyer that I mentioned before, and she was going to be retiring, and it's like, man, how do you replace that person? I mean, she was doing everything, all the front office, the books, the accounting, the HR, being my right-hand person. I mean, you can't replace that person, and it's a long shot. I don't think there's no way it'll ever happen. But I just thought, I'm going to go ask my daughter. And she said yes. So I told her, okay, things do fine. So my daughter actually came back and took over that position. So I'm feeling pretty comfortable between my daughter, my son, and Paul out on the shop. I really turned it over to those 3 people and gave them the responsibility. And I'll probably never retire because I always need something to do.
Yeah.
And so I like being part of the whole thing. So, but I'll turn more and more over to them. I'll end up turning our ownership over, but I don't know if I'll ever retire.
But it kind of seems like the way to go. I think of the people who love what they do and then retire, and they're so bored, and they hate their lives. So it's kind of nice to be able to work on your own terms and have the involvement you want, and be able to help out like in Tiger manufacturing where you want. Seems like better than retirement, at least to me on my side of things.
In Tiger manufacturing, I mean, I tell them I'll do it for another 5 years, but it seems like I tell them that every year. So I don't know. So I don't know when that 5 years ever ends up ending. So, but it's been a lot of fun and just a lot of support. The administration at the high school just been good to work with, and just always behind it. Easy to, it's. I think sometimes they should question me more, but it seems like I could do anything. But I think we just have a really good understanding, and it's growing, and I think it's really a flagship program for them, really. And
yeah,
and I mean, I get benefit out of it too. I mean, I think out of our internship program, Tiger Manufacturing, I had a rather internship program out of the last 5 years, I think we've hired 8, 9 machinists.
Oh, wow.
So, and so we also get a lot of them. I mean, I'll have interns that work for maybe 4 or 5 years because they start in high school and work all the summers. And I had 2 that just moved on after 4 years because they went community college and lived at home and worked 30 hours for me and went to school. And so I've had a lot of success like that. I have one individual that I hired, I think 6 years ago, that just phenomenal machinist. And and just looking at it, it's like, you could run a machine shop better than me. So why don't you run I suggest you start a machine shop. And so that's what he did. And,
Wow.
and we supported him. We let him use our equipment on off hours. So once till he got enough equipment, he has a couple of pieces of equipment at home now, and he's only down to 1 or 2 days a week now because he's got plenty of work to do. But we were just really honored to help him do it because he would have hit the ceiling at our place and not been there that long anyway. So we might as well get him to stay longer by helping him do that. So,
well, it's got to feel really good to be able to have that role in helping someone go off on their own and giving them the support, like you said, that you didn't really have. And I guess in a sense you had it with John Spencer with DCI, right. But it's nice to be able to help the next generation with that.
Well, if they can make it easier for him, and he also had the internet. I did it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I really think the youth don't get enough opportunities. I really think business is missing out by not stepping up and offering more opportunities because they're ready, a lot of them. They just need a little bit of help, a little bit of encouragement, a little bit of direction. But we've been really successful with the programs and helping them and bringing them on our staff and having them work for us. So, I mean, that's why I really do it, is just to give them that opportunity. There's just not enough out there, and there's just a lot of misconceptions. The individual I said that started his own machine shop, I mean, I saw him at some manufacturing conference. They did a presentation. He was actually out of the Chehalem school, C-Tech. He was out of there, and I saw him. My daughter actually elbowed me. Said, "Should talk to that kid in the middle. He sways back and forth like you do." So I went and found him in the lobby and talked to him and found out he was a valedictorian.
Wow.
And, I'm like thinking, okay, he's going to go into engineering and, so what do you plan to do? So I want to be a machinist. So, okay, well, have you ever worked in a shop yet? It's like, no, I'm not 18 yet. Well, you can work for me because you don't have to be 18. You can work for me at 16. You just got to get the right bully paperwork. And so he's like, oh, well, I can work for you. So that's how we hired him.
Wow.
Because he didn't think he could get a job. And he was going to wait till he's 18.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I guess there's a big opportunity to hire young people because most people are looking for people who are out of college or have the degree. But if you're looking for work and if you can find the right person, that's a big part too, is finding someone who's willing to work, who has the passion for it. But I think you're right. I think there is an opportunity there.
Well, and one thing we were seeing, because we decided to hire entry level only, but we were having these people apply at 24, 25. And we're like, why? And they're a perfect fit. They're naturals for machining. Why aren't we getting them at 18?
Yeah.
Right out of school. And that's why we really wanted to go to the school. So those individuals that really are the ones that going to benefit from going and machining right out of school can do it.
Yeah.
So recognize it and realize that that's a good fit for them. So.
Well, I want to say thank you, at least on behalf of me. And I know there's many people who are grateful for the role that you've had, one with providing the jobs you have, every business kind of has a cascading effect in its role and with high school. So I think you really embody a lot of what the Giving Town is all about with finding ways to give back, but really also being an example of how to be a successful citizen in more ways than one, not just the business success, but also success in terms of how do we treat each other and how do we take care of our community. One last question for you that I like to ask is, what gives you hope for the future of Newberg?
Well, man, I think we're just a good community. I mean, I've been in the community for over 40 years and seen a lot of change, but I just think it's a good community. It's got a good history. I really like that Yamhill County has more manufacturing by percentage than any other county in the state. So,
I didn't realize. That's interesting. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, because you got DCI and mostly ADEC.
Yeah.
But McMinnville has a lot of good, strong manufacturing. But yeah, we manufacture a lot more than any other county. So,
wow.
So I like that. I mean, I like being in the community with ADEC, and that ADEC is so strong, and we're going to make it in the United States, and we're going to make it, here. And so obviously that's pretty big for me too, because that's what I do, is I make it here.
Yeah.
So I like what we have. We have a good manufacturing base. We have a lot of good companies here, and I just hope we can, moving forward, we can make that keep going. I mean, we've got a real shortage of industrial land, and it's, a lot of hurdles to get that land used. So hopefully they can fix some of those problems. But I think we're definitely moving in the right direction. And like I said, I just like our location, like where we're at. I like Oregon. I've never lived anywhere else. So
yeah. Well, thank you, Alvin. It's been great hearing more of your story, and thanks for sharing about what you've got going on.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for tuning in to the Givingtown podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, please consider sharing it with a friend who you think might benefit from hearing it. While more and more people are continuing to hear about this podcast, I still need your help to spread the message about all the people and organizations that make Newberg so great. Well, thanks for tuning in, and I'll catch you in the next episode.